Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Olufemi Samuel Amo. I am from Nigeria, and my teammate, Charles Omaorete, is from Kenya. I will be representing Team D in Group 2, and I'm here to oppose the motion, should genetic profiling be used for border security and immigration policies? In my opinion, this should not be allowed, talk less of being promoted. However, before we delve deeper into the subject matter, I would like to define briefly what genetics and genomics are and how policy advocacy comes in. Genetics is said to be the study of individual genes. Genes are basic units of heredity that influence phenotypic traits in organisms. In human, we have examples like the eye color and the height. It also helps us to understand how these traits are passed from generation to another. Genomics, on the other hand, looks at the bigger picture. It examines the entire genome, genes to gene interaction, as well as genes interacting with the environment. In recent times, technological advancement has widened the genomics application, and its use has been found in personalized medicine and genetic modified organisms in agriculture. But as these technologies advances, important questions arise about how they should be used, who the data will benefit, and how we will protect those that are given the data. That's exactly where policy advocacy comes in. Policy advocacy in genetics and genomics could therefore mean working to shape laws, regulations, and public awareness around the use of genetic information. It involves fighting for ethical standards, privacy protection, equitable access to testing and care, and protection against genetic discrimination. In short, it is about ensuring that the science works for the people and not against the people. I would therefore open my statement by stating emphatically that while security and immigration control are important state responsibilities, employing genetic profile as a tool for these purposes presents significant ethical, legal, and societal dangers. It also risks undermining human rights, promoting discrimination, and creating precedents that harm rather than protect our society. My arguments are as follows. Number one, it's a violation of privacy and human rights. How do I mean? Genetic data is deeply personal. Therefore, using it for border control infringes on the right to bodily autonomy and privacy. Privacy protection is enshrined in many national constitutions and international treaties, we should know. There is a risk also of misuse or unauthorized sharing of genetic information, which can affect not only the individual but their family and generation after them. Therefore, consent becomes coerced or superficial when individuals are required to give up genetic data as a condition of entry or for asylum seeker. Secondly, scientific limitations and false assumption may arise because genetics does not define nationality, criminality, or trustworthiness. Therefore, basing immigration or security decision on genetic data is scientifically flawed and opens the door to genetic determinisms. Mixed ancestry and diverse populations make it difficult, if not dangerous, to draw sharp lines using genetic data. Any such attempts will result in errors, misclassification, and injustice to our society. My arguments are therefore further establish that this is an ethical issue and a discrimination and eugenics revival may arise because genetic profiling for immigration can introduce racist ideologies under a scientific guise. Such policy also will echo the dark history of eugenics that occurred in the early 19th centuries, where certain populations were systematically excluded or sterilized based on genetic traits. Marginalized communities are not left out, especially refugees and asylum seekers. They will suffer disproportionately, leading to structural exclusion and systemic inequality. My further argument is that it causes harm to our societies. Public trust in institutions may erode if genetic surveillance becomes a border norm. People may begin to fear medical institutions or research. It may also fuel xenophobic activities, creating a society where outsiders are viewed as biologically dangerous, a dangerous step in itself towards social division and even violence. Countries that implement such policies may face diplomatic backlash and reputational damages. We should also know that there are better alternatives. Border security and immigration control can be managed and has been managed using existing tools. Biometric verification, for example, the background checks and data sharing between countries has been effective. Therefore, without crossing the ethical red lines of genetic profiling, our border can be effectively secured. The focus should therefore be on risk-based, fair and evidence-based systems that protect both national security and human dignity. My rebuttal is as follows. The proponent explained to us that implant is a powerful tool for tracking illegal trade in plant-based contraband, verifying agricultural goods, and monitoring invasive species. Fine, but we must not blur the lines between using genetics to regulate commodities and using it to regulate people. There is a fundamental difference between profiling plant material and profiling human beings. Plants don't have bodily autonomy. They do not have civil rights, neither do they have privacy. Humans do. Even if plant genetic profiling proves effective in trade regulation, it is not a justification and cannot be justified to human immigration systems. In animal, we were told that it has undeniable benefits for disease control, preventing wildlife trafficking, and protection from invasive or genetically modified species, which are true in its own sense. However, using animals as justification profiling humans at borders is fundamentally flawed. Animals are not rights-bearing individuals. Humans are. When we talk about genetic profiling in humans, we are no longer addressing ecosystem balance. We are dealing with privacy, identity, consent, and discrimination. While we may monitor animal populations to protect ecosystem, we cannot treat people like biological cargo. Borders can be secure without reducing human to genetic data sampling. To human, the listed benefits such as it will enhance our border security. While this might look so, it is not correct because crime is about intent and DNA cannot reliably prove intent. Security threats should be addressed, therefore, through intelligence, behavioral screening, and biometric system, not by building database of people's genetic code. They were told that it streamlined immigration in family reunification cases. It is not correct also, because while DNA can confirm biological relationships, not all family bonds are genetic. What of adoption, guardianship, and cultural kinship? These are all going to be ignored. Therefore, making DNA tests a condition for family reunification risks excluding people unjustly and is a great needless denial, especially in humanitarian crisis. Also, we were told it improve law enforcement and crime prevention. No, crime prevention cannot be prevented by criminalizing DNA. DNA is not a criminal predictor. Using genetic data to track potential criminals criminalize DNA itself, reinforces, and it also reinforces genetic determinism and opens the door to prejudices and human rights violations, especially against marginalized communities. They told us it's of public health importance. For surveillance, no. Screening people at borders for genes-linked diseases to sickle cell or drug resistance is a violation of medical privacy, and it could deny people of adequate health access. It also risks stigmatizing entire population based on their genetics and could be misused to deny entry or health care, especially in regions with high genetic disease prevalence. In closing, I would like to state emphatically that genetic profiling in human border control turns science into mere surveillance tool. It erodes trust, ignores social context, and invites misuse. Security and public health are legitimate concerns in this matter, but they must be pursued using methods that respect human dignity, privacy, and justice. We cannot afford to trade rights for a false sense of control. We must not compromise our shared humanity and rights in the name of security. There are better, fairer, and safer ways. Thank you. These are my references.